Let's talk about 2020 polling. Okay. It's been weeks since I talked about the Democratic primary polling. Partially it's because I was gone all of last week, but partially it's because we've not been following it super closely at this point, but we're now getting close to the start of the Democratic primary debates. Those start next month. And at this point, there are some really clear and defined trends in 2020 Democratic primary polling. And the trends are, for better or worse, Joe Biden is leading, but not by as much as he was at the beginning of May. Bernie and Elizabeth Warren have solidified their second and third place positions. Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg are kind of trading back and forth for the fourth place position. And then there just like are a whole bunch of candidates who can't even break 1% or 2%, who are effectively done and have no chance. So I want to go through this in order and let's see kind of what we're left with at the end. First of all, the green line, if you are watching along with me here, is Joe Biden's polling. And I'll describe it in case you're listening and not watching. Joe Biden's polling hit a high average of more than 40% early in May, and it's now sort of cooled off to just under 35%. So Biden has lost somewhere around 6 or 7 points, depending on the poll you look at over the last 3 to 4 weeks. The question is Biden going to keep trailing off or will he stick around 35%? The progressive wing of the left is saying the more people know about Joe, the more his support is going to erode because people aren't going to like what Joe Biden is about. That's a possibility. It also could be that there was some initial enthusiasm behind Joe that is just kind of falling off now. Okay, so that's number one. Number two, you'll look at the light blue and the brown lines on this image that's on screen. Those are Bernie and Warren. And I'll describe to you what's going on there. Bernie was immediately hurt when Joe Biden entered the race. And you see that when Biden hit his high of around 40+%, Bernie hit his low, but he's since recovered. And Bernie's now pretty solidly in second place, polling an average of just over 16%. Now, Elizabeth Warren, on the other hand, as I told you a couple of weeks ago, has been slowly and steadily growing her support. And it's now at a campaign high. She's moved from being kind of in the 5% area to 7 to 8% in most polls. She's now averaging right about 10% behind Bernie Sanders, but not drastically so. So let's now look, now that we've seen who the three frontrunners are, let's look at who's done and has no chance. The frontrunners, clearly, Joe Biden, Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren behind them. And then there's this second sort of mini tier of candidates, which is Kamala Harris and Pete Buttigieg. Harris averaging about 7%, Buttigieg averaging about 6%. Now, the people who have no chance and are getting no traction and will likely start dropping out soon after the debates start are the folks who are under 1% for sure, and a lot of the people under 2% as well. Okay, so under 1% and have no chance whatsoever: Tulsi Gabbard, Bennett, Bullock, whom you may not even have heard of, Hickenlooper, Seth Moulton, Bill de Blasio, John Delaney, Kirsten Gillibrand, Marianne Williamson, Tim Ryan. They're all under 1%. They just have no chance. Okay, I'm not telling them to drop out. I don't really care one way or the other. They're just non-factors. They're done. And I don't even know that there's that much attention to be paid to their prospects. Then you have the 1 to 2% range. Okay, you've got Andrew Yang there. You have Julian Castro. You have Amy Klobuchar, who are between 1 and 2%. They're also realistically done, but if you're at 2%, you can sort of justify staying in a little bit longer. I know that early I said I liked Andrew Yang, and I still like Andrew Yang. I know that 3 months ago he had like a hypothetical path to the nomination if he continued building support. I'm not calling him done now. I mean, he's over 1%, but if he doesn't get to like 3 or 4% after the first debate, I don't know how he justifies staying in. And then caught in this kind of no man's land at more than 2%, but less than anything significant, are Cory Booker at 2.2 and Beto O'Rourke at 3.8. I think they're also both done, but that's enough support to keep raising money, keep raising your public profile by staying in. So that's my assessment right now. If you disagree with me on any of this, let me know, politely, ideally. If there's someone in the under 1% area that you think has a shot, tell me who, and tell me why. If there's someone who's polling more than 3% and you do think they should get out right now, tell me who and tell me why. And if you think that there's someone who isn't doing well, but as soon as they get on the debate stage, they are going to be so impressive to the voting public that they will rocket up into at least the 7, 8, or 9% range. Tell me who and tell me why people will be so impressed with their debate skills. We'll follow up. We'll do a poll on the YouTube community tab about this and see where our audience is on a lot of these candidates and issues.